Every year, rats destroy enough food to feed 200 million people. Pest control companies collect over $10 billion solving a problem they have no interest in you solving yourself. And yet, ordinary Japanese families have been keeping their homes rat-free for generations. No poison, no traps, no exterminator. Not because Japan has fewer rats, because they know something you were never told. The question is not why it works. The question is why nobody outside Japan ever taught you this. Before we get into the method, we need to talk about what commercial rat poison is actually doing inside your walls. Because most people do not realize this. The active ingredient in the majority of supermarket rat baits is called brodifacoum, an anticoagulant that prevents blood from clotting. It does not kill the rat overnight. It takes 4 to 10 days of slow internal bleeding. During that time, the rat continues moving through your home, through your walls, often dying in a spot you cannot reach. The decomposition creates a smell that lasts for weeks. Worse, secondary poisoning is a well-documented problem. An owl, a cat, a neighborhood dog eats the dead rat and absorbs a lethal dose of the same chemical. Studies in urban areas across Europe and North America consistently find brodifacoum residue in the livers of birds of prey. You are not solving a rat problem. You are starting a chain reaction that ends somewhere you did not intend. Japan rejected this approach generations ago, and the reason runs deeper than chemistry. In Japan, there is a concept called soji. The word translates roughly as cleaning, but the meaning is much closer to the word discipline. In Japanese elementary schools, there are no janitors. Every day after lunch, students spend 15 minutes cleaning their own classrooms, hallways, and bathrooms as a group. This is not presented as a punishment. It is presented as part of being a functioning member of a community. By the time a Japanese child reaches adulthood, the idea of preventing problems through daily maintenance is not a philosophy they choose to adopt. It is simply how they move through the world. And when it comes to rats, this philosophy produces results that are almost impossible to argue with. Here is what the pest control industry does not want to be the headline. Rats do not break into homes. They are invited in. Every rat inside your house found an open door, a gap in the foundation, an unsealed pipe, a forgotten hole where the utility cable enters the wall. The Japanese approach begins there, before any bait is ever placed, before any ingredient is mixed. Take a flashlight and spend 20 minutes walking around the outside of your home at ground level. You are looking for any gap wider than roughly 12 millimeters, the width of your thumb. Rats have collapsible rib cages. If the skull fits through a hole, the body follows. Every opening you find gets packed tightly with steel wool and sealed over with exterior caulk. Rats can chew through wood, soft concrete, plastic piping, and foam insulation. They cannot chew through interlocking steel fibers. Their continuously growing incisors catch and tangle in the steel wool, and they abandon the attempt. This single step eliminates more rat entries than any poison ever placed inside a home. For additional perimeter defense, Japanese households use something that grows in every kitchen: dried chili. The compound that makes chili peppers burn is called capsaicin. In rats, capsaicin does not just irritate the mouth, it overwhelms the olfactory system, which rats depend on almost entirely for navigation. A rat that cannot smell, cannot map its environment, cannot locate food, cannot function. Mix cayenne pepper generously into your caulking compound before sealing any gaps. Soak cotton balls in pure peppermint oil and place them inside every cabinet under your kitchen sink, behind the refrigerator, and inside the garage near the water heater. Replace them every 5 days before the oil evaporates. Now, once the perimeter is sealed, the Japanese use a kill method that costs less than €1 and exploits a biological weakness rats cannot overcome. Rats cannot vomit, they cannot burp. When gas builds up in the stomach, there is no release mechanism. This is the vulnerability. Baking soda, When it contacts the hydrochloric acid in a rat's stomach, produces carbon dioxide gas rapidly. In a human, that gas becomes a small belch and the episode is over. In a rat, the pressure builds against the diaphragm until breathing becomes impossible. The rat dies within hours, typically before leaving the wall cavity. The challenge is delivery. Rats are what scientists call neophobic, deeply suspicious of anything new in their environment. A rat will not walk up to a pile of white powder. You have to make it irresistible. Here is the exact mixture: 1 cup of baking soda, 1 cup of flour, and half a cup of powdered chocolate or cocoa. Mix these 3 ingredients until completely uniform with no visible separation. The flour gives it a familiar grain texture. The cocoa creates an aroma that rats find almost impossible to resist. Studies on rodent food preferences consistently show strong attraction to cocoa compounds. The baking soda disappears inside the blend, undetectable by smell or texture. Put on disposable gloves before handling the mixture. Rat scent detection is precise enough to identify a human fingerprint on food and trigger avoidance behavior. Spoon the mixture into shallow jar lids. Place them along the walls where you have seen droppings, pressed against the baseboard. Rats almost never travel through open floor space. They run along walls because proximity to a vertical surface gives them a sense of protection. Do not expect immediate results. Rats sample new food sources in very small amounts first, then wait 2 days to see if they experience discomfort. If nothing happens, they return for a larger amount. That second or third visit is where a fatal dose is consumed. Check the stations every morning. If a lid is clean, refill it. If a lid is untouched after 3 days, move it to a different wall. The rat's travel route runs somewhere else. There is a second method that Japanese households use alongside the baking soda bait, and it requires nothing more than the instant mashed potato flakes you can buy at any supermarket. Dry potato flakes contain large amounts of rapidly expanding starch. When a rat eats a small quantity and then drinks water, the flakes expand inside the stomach far beyond its capacity. The result is fatal internal pressure. Pour a shallow layer of dry flakes into a small container and place a separate water source nearby. This is not kindness, it is efficiency. You want the rat to drink immediately after eating, triggering the expansion while the flakes are still active. Between these two methods, sealed entry points and capsaicin deterrents, the system works as a complete, closed loop. New rats cannot enter. Rats already inside are drawn to bait that kills without secondary poisoning risk, without chemicals in your walls, and without a smell problem. The deeper lesson from Japan is not about baking soda or chili or potato flakes, it is about the sequence. Western pest control responds. Japanese pest control prevents. You seal the house first, remove every food invitation second, deploy simple targeted methods third, and then maintain the system with 10 minutes of weekly attention. Checking entry points seasonally, replacing peppermint oil every 5 days, keeping pantry food in glass or metal containers with sealed lids, taking out the garbage before midnight. A rat colony does not appear overnight. It develops over weeks because every invitation went unanswered. Remove the invitations, and you never need to address the colony. The people in Japan do not win by fighting harder. They win because they built a home where rats have no reason to come and no way to get in. The battle was finished before it even started.